The moon hung low over the dense forest, silver light spilling through the tangled branches, glinting on the dewy leaves. A lone carriage rattled along the winding path, the wheels crunching against the gravel. Inside, Liana, a young woman with sharp eyes and a heart full of curiosity, clutched her travel bag nervously. She had been instructed to join a friendly neighboring pack, unaware that fate had other plans. The carriage jolted violently as it hit a hidden route. Liana's grip tightened. "Steady, please," she muttered to the driver, who nodded grimly but said nothing. The forest seemed alive tonight, whispering secrets only the wind could understand. Hours earlier, Liana had been standing at the crossroads, choosing her path with an uncertain heart. Her pack was small, cautious, and deeply wary of outsiders. She had hoped that this journey would give her freedom, perhaps even adventure, but she had taken the wrong carriage. Meanwhile, deep in the territory of the most powerful pack in the region, the Alpha King, Kalen, sat in his grand hall, his mind restless. Something in the air had shifted, a faint scent carried on the wind, fragile but undeniable. His sister Solara, graceful and sharp as a wolf herself, stepped beside him. "Brother," she said softly, a knowing glint in her amber eyes, "someone is coming. A mate, and she is not from our pack." Kalen's brow furrowed. "A mate," he murmured. He had ruled for decades, his pack loyal and thriving. Nothing escaped his notice, and yet there was a pull he could not name. Solara tilted her head, sniffing the air. "She took the wrong carriage, Kylan. By mistake, she's entering our lands. You must meet her before someone else claims her." Far away, Liana's carriage finally slowed near the towering gates of Kalen's pack territory. She stared in awe. The gates were carved from ancient wood, intertwined with silver vines, their patterns alive with faint magical light. She had never seen anything like it. The driver bowed and said, "Mistress, we have arrived." Before retreating into the shadows, Liana stepped down, her heart hammering. She could feel eyes on her, unseen but piercing, and an uneasy thrill ran down her spine. Solara emerged from the shadows, her presence commanding yet enchanting. "Welcome," Solara said, voice smooth as silk. "I am Solara, sister of the Alpha King. My brother needs a mate, and I believe by fate or chance you might be the one." Liana's breath caught. She had never imagined herself in the presence of an alpha, much less that someone as formidable as Solara would announce such a thing. Fear and curiosity warred within her. Solara's gaze softened slightly. "Do not worry, you are safe here, but understand this: once you cross this threshold, your life will never be the same. The pack, the forest, and my brother will all claim a part of you." And in that instant, Liana felt it. A pull, deep in her chest, a spark that whispered of destiny, danger, and a love that would burn like wildfire. The night closed around them, full of secrets yet to be revealed. And somewhere in the shadows, Kalen watched, his presence unseen but palpable, the Alpha King unaware that fate had just delivered the most unexpected twist of all, a mate who had arrived by mistake. The moonlight danced across the clearing as Liana followed Solara deeper into the pack's territory. Every step seemed surreal. The forest was alive with whispers, the rustling leaves carrying the faint scent of predators, power, and something far more intoxicating, destiny. "Stay close," Solara instructed, her voice a soft melody with an edge of steel. "The Alpha King, he is unlike anyone you've ever met, and he will know if you try to hide anything." Liana's heart raced, her mind spun with questions. What kind of pack was this? Why had Solara singled her out? And most importantly, what did it mean to be a mate of the Alpha King? As they approached the grand hall, the massive doors swung open with a low, resonant creak. Inside, the room was immense, adorned with tapestries depicting centuries of pack history, battles, alliances, and legends. But what drew Liana's attention was not the grandeur. It was him. Kalen stood at the center, a figure carved from shadow and moonlight. His dark hair fell over a sharply defined face, his amber eyes glowing like molten gold in the dim light. Every muscle, every movement exuded control and power. And yet there was a flicker of curiosity, of recognition, as though he could see straight into her soul. Solara stepped forward confidently. "Brother, this is Liana." She arrived by accident, but perhaps she was meant to. Kalen's gaze snapped to Liana. The air seemed to thicken around her. She felt exposed, vulnerable, yet strangely electrified. You are far from home, Kalen said, his voice low, commanding, and undeniably magnetic. Tell me what brings you to my lands. Lyanna swallowed hard, trying to steady her trembling hands. I was supposed to join another pack. I took the wrong carriage, she explained. Her words sounded smaller than she felt, almost fragile under his intense scrutiny. Kalen's expression softened for a fraction of a second, just enough to make her pulse quicken. A mistake, he mused as though testing the weight of her words. Or fate. Solara's lips curved into a sly smile. I think it's fate, she said, glancing between them. Kalen, she may be your mate. You should sense it. You always do. Kalen's amber eyes narrowed slightly, scanning Lyanna from head to toe. Then, without warning, he stepped closer. The room seemed to shrink around them. Lyanna could feel the heat radiating from him, the raw power, the undeniable aura of dominance. You smell different, Kalen murmured, almost to himself. Not like anyone I've ever known. Lyanna's cheeks flushed. Different, she repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes, he said simply, yet there was an edge of longing in his tone. And I want to understand why. The tension between them was electric, a dangerous current that seemed to pull at her very core. Solara watched silently, knowing the moment her brother's interest was truly piqued. Kalen's hand twitched slightly, an instinctive reaction that betrayed the alpha within. You will stay here tonight, he finally said, his gaze locked on hers. The forest is not forgiving, and neither am I when it comes to protecting what is mine. Lyanna nodded, though her heart pounded wildly. She sensed that her life had changed forever. Fate had led her here, to a forest where shadows hid secrets, and where the Alpha King himself might be both the danger and the salvation she never knew she needed. As Solara led her to a guest chamber, Lyanna couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. And indeed, Kalen stood silently in the hall, eyes never leaving the doorway. He didn't touch her, he didn't speak, yet his presence pressed down like the weight of destiny itself. Tonight, Lyanna thought as she settled into the soft bed, she had entered a world she didn't understand, a world ruled by the most powerful alpha in the region, and by fate that could no longer be ignored. And deep in the forest, hidden in the shadows, something ancient stirred, sensing the bond that had begun to awaken, a bond that would change everything. The first light of dawn barely touched the forest when Lyanna awoke, her senses immediately alert. The guest chamber was quiet, yet the subtle hum of life from the forest outside seemed louder than usual. Something in the air had shifted overnight, and she felt it deep in her bones, a presence powerful and consuming. Kalen didn't knock, he didn't announce himself. And yet when she turned, there he was, leaning against the doorway, eyes sharp and calculating, every inch the Alpha King. The golden glow of his eyes and the early morning light made her heart stumble. You're awake, he said simply, his voice low, smooth, carrying that commanding authority that made her knees feel weak. Ah, yes, Lyanna replied, trying to steady her voice. I didn't sleep much. Kalen pushed off from the doorway, stepping closer. She could feel the heat radiating from him, a mix of raw power and unspoken danger. His presence was overwhelming, yet she felt a strange pull, as if some invisible thread connected them. You smell different this morning, Kalen murmured, his amber eyes locking onto hers. He inhaled softly, as though savoring her unique scent. It's intoxicating and unsettling. Lyanna swallowed, uncertain if he meant it as a compliment or a warning. Her pulse raced uncontrollably. I'm not sure what that means. Kalen's lips curved into the faintest smirk. It means you are mine, whether you realize it or not, he said, his voice barely more than a growl. His alpha instincts, honed over decades of ruling the pack, recognized her scent, her energy, her bond. Solara appeared at the edge of the doorway, silent but watching, her expression unreadable. Brother, she said softly, you sense it, don't you? Kalen didn't respond immediately. Instead, he stepped closer, closing the distance between them. Lyanna could feel the raw strength in his body, the commanding aura of an Alpha King who ruled not just by force, but by instinct. Her heart pounded wildly, a mixture of fear and anticipation. You've never been near an alpha like me before, Kalen said finally, his voice a seductive growl. And yet your presence demands I notice you. You are different. Lyanna's lips parted, words caught in her throat. She wanted to speak, to protest, to deny whatever bond this powerful man claimed, but she couldn't. Something primal within her recognized him, even if her mind refused to. Kaelin's gaze softened for just a heartbeat, a rare vulnerability that few had ever witnessed. Then, like a shadow, he stepped back, restoring the distance, but not the tension. "You will remain here until you understand the rules of my pack," he said, authoritative yet not unkind. "And you will not leave, not until I have decided what role you play in my world." Lyanna nodded, her body tense, her mind racing. "I understand." Solara lingered behind Kaelin, her eyes glinting with satisfaction. "The bond is strong," she whispered. "Stronger than any mistake. Kaelin will fight it, resist it, but he cannot deny it. She is his mate." As the day began, Lyanna explored the territory under Solara's careful guidance, her senses heightened with every step. She saw the pack in action, warriors training, younger wolves learning to hunt, elders speaking in hushed tones about the Alpha King's legacy. But always in the back of her mind was Kaelin, the Alpha King who had claimed her without even touching her, whose presence was in every corner of the Grand Hall, whose scent lingered in the air long after he had left. And deep in the forest, hidden in the shadows, the pack's ancient spirits stirred. They had waited centuries for a bond like this, an unexpected mate who had come by mistake, yet destined to ignite a fire that would burn through the entire kingdom. Tonight, Lyanna realized, she would learn just how dangerous and irresistible being the Alpha King's mate truly was. The afternoon sun filtered through the dense canopy, casting dappled light across the training grounds. Lyanna followed Solara cautiously, her senses alive to every movement of the pack. She had never seen wolves train like this, every action precise, every strike deliberate, yet fluid as if the forest itself flowed through them. Kaelin appeared without warning, stepping from the shadows as silent as a predator. Lyanna froze, her pulse racing. He stopped just a few feet away, his amber eyes scrutinizing her like a sculptor appraising raw marble. "You watch closely," he said, his voice low and commanding, "but understanding comes from experience, not observation." Lyanna nodded, trying to hide the shiver his proximity caused. I understand," she stammered. Kaelin's lips curved into a faint, almost predatory smile. "Good, then we begin." He gestured to the training dummies scattered around. "Show me your reflexes." Her heart pounded. She had never trained for combat, never faced an alpha, and certainly never imagined herself in this forest full of powerful wolves. Yet, as Kaelin's gaze bore into her, something inside her shifted. Adrenaline surged, muscles tensed, and instincts awakened she didn't even know she possessed. Solara watched from a distance, her expression unreadable but her eyes sharp. "He is testing more than skill," she murmured to herself. "He is testing the bond and her heart." Lyanna swung at the first dummy awkwardly. Kaelin stepped closer, correcting her stance with a touch that was deliberate, intimate, and electrifying. Every contact sent a shiver down her spine. "You are tense," he observed, voice low, almost teasing. "Relax, let your instincts guide you." Her body obeyed, almost against her will. With each motion, she began to feel the rhythm of the forest, the flow of energy, the primal heartbeat of the pack. Kaelin's presence was a constant pull at her core, his scent a lure that drew her closer to the edge of something forbidden and thrilling. Suddenly, Kaelin stepped behind her, brushing past her just enough to make her tremble. "Do not resist me," he murmured, and she felt his words as a physical force. Her breath hitched, her heartbeat racing. You are," Lyanna faltered, unsure whether to speak or surrender to the storm of emotions he stirred. Kaelin's amber eyes softened briefly, revealing a flicker of vulnerability before hardening again. "I am testing you," he said. "Not just your body, but your spirit. And your mind. A mate must be strong in every way, Lyanna." She turned to face him, a mix of fear and longing in her eyes. "And what if I'm not ready?" He smiled, a slow, dangerous curl of lips. "Then I will make you ready, and you will want it." The air between them crackled with tension, charged with something deeper than desire, a connection neither could fully name, yet both could feel. Every glance, every movement, every word was a test, a push and a pull. Solara's voice, soft yet sharp, broke the moment. "Enough for today," she said, stepping forward. "The Alpha King cannot allow you to exhaust her, not yet. Let her rest, for tomorrow the bond will demand more. Kaelin's gaze lingered on Lyanna, unblinking, as though committing every detail of her to memory. Rest, he said finally, voice low and commanding. But know this, tonight your dreams will not be your own. Lyanna felt a chill run down her spine. Every instinct in her body whispered of danger and desire, of a force beyond comprehension. She understood now that being in the presence of the Alpha King was not merely living, it was surviving the storm of power, passion, and primal connection he embodied. As she lay in her chamber later, the scent of Kaelin still lingering, she felt the bond stirring, raw, wild, undeniable. And somewhere deep in the forest, the pack's ancient spirits watched, approving. For the bond had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. Night had fallen, and the forest was alive with the sounds of distant howls, the rustling of leaves, and the soft whispers of hidden creatures. Lyanna lay in her chamber, unable to sleep. Her mind was tangled with thoughts of Kaelin, the Alpha King who had appeared in her life like a force of nature, consuming, demanding, and impossibly magnetic. A sudden knock at the door made her sit upright. "Who is it?" she called, her voice trembling slightly. "Do not be afraid." Solera's voice answered softly. "He is here to see you. Kaelin insists." Lyanna's pulse quickened. She hesitated for a heartbeat, then opened the door. The hallway was bathed in moonlight, and there he stood, Kaelin, towering, impossibly commanding, yet with an intensity that left her breathless. "You are awake," he said, stepping into the room without waiting for an invitation. "Good. I want to speak with you." She swallowed, her throat dry. I don't know what to say." Kaelin closed the distance between them, the air thick with tension. "Then I will speak for both of us." His amber eyes bore into hers, unwavering, unrelenting. "Lyanna, you smell of the forest of life and of possibility. You are my mate. That bond cannot be denied, resisted, or ignored. You may think you have a choice, but you do not." Her heart hammered. I don't understand. I didn't come here for this. I made a mistake. I took the wrong carriage." Kaelin's gaze softened just slightly, though the commanding force in his presence remained. "It is never a mistake when destiny is involved. You are here because the pack, the spirits, and I all have claimed you. You will be mine whether you understand it now or not." Lyanna's hands trembled. "But what if I'm not ready? What if I don't want this?" "You don't know what you want yet?" Kaelin murmured, taking her hand in his. The touch was electric, sending shivers through her entire body. "But your body, your instincts, they already belong to me. Feel it, Lyanna. Feel the bond stirring inside you." She felt a warmth deep in her chest, a pull that was impossible to resist. Her breath hitched as the realization dawned on her. Kaelin's presence was not just magnetic, it was primal, an undeniable force that stirred her soul. Kaelin stepped closer, close enough for her to feel the heat of his body, the power in his every movement. "Do not fear me," he whispered, his voice a growl that made her shiver. "I will not harm you, but I will claim you, and you will want me too." Lyanna's heart raced, torn between fear, confusion, and something far more dangerous, desire. She wanted to pull away, to deny the storm raging inside her, but her body betrayed her. Every instinct, every cell resonated with his presence. Solera, standing silently at the edge of the room, allowed a small, approving smile. "The bond is awakening," she whispered. "Kaelin will not be denied, and neither will you. It is inevitable." Kaelin's hand moved to cup her cheek, his thumb brushing gently against her skin. "You are mine, Lyanna," he said softly, "and I will protect you, teach you, and claim every part of you that belongs to me. The pack, the forest, and I, we all know this. You are my mate." Tears pricked Lyanna's eyes, not from fear, but from the overwhelming intensity of the moment. She could feel the bond pulsing between them, wild, consuming, and undeniably real. She took a shaky breath. I feel it," she whispered. "I don't understand it, but I feel it." Kaelin's lips curved into a rare, satisfied smile. "Good, that is all that matters. You will learn, and together we will face whatever comes. But know this, Lyanna, once the bond is fully awakened, there will be no turning back." The forest outside seemed to hold its breath, the wind pausing in respect, the ancient spirits stirring in anticipation. And as Kaelin drew her closer, letting the bond between them thrum like a living heartbeat, Lyanna realized one undeniable truth: her life, her heart, and her destiny had just been claimed by the Alpha King. Tonight, nothing would ever be the same again. The forest was alive with the scent of pine and damp earth, yet beneath it all, something darker stirred. Lyanna walked beside Solara, her senses heightened. She could feel the pull of Kaelin everywhere, in the rustle of leaves, in the faint echo of distant howls, even in the subtle vibration of the earth beneath her feet. "The bond is growing stronger," Solara murmured, her amber eyes scanning the trees. "Your connection to him is awakening. Soon, it will be impossible to ignore." Lyanna's heart raced. Every instinct inside her screamed that Kaelin was near, even though he wasn't visible. She could feel him in her blood, in her breath, in the very core of her being. "It's overwhelming," she admitted. "I can't stop thinking about him. It's like he's inside my mind." Solara smiled knowingly. "That is how a mate feels. It is not just desire, Lyanna. It is instinct, survival, and destiny all wrapped into one. The bond chooses, and the bond does not lie." Suddenly, the forest went silent. Lyanna's ears twitched. She could sense the faintest shift in the air. Before she could react, Kaelin appeared from the shadows, moving with the grace and power of a predator. His amber eyes blazed with intensity, locking onto hers. "You feel it, don't you?" he asked, his voice low, a growl hidden beneath the words. "The bond, it is not just between us. It is in the air, in the pack, in the forest itself. It will awaken fully, whether we are ready or not." Lyanna swallowed hard, trying to steady her racing heart. "I feel it," she whispered, voice trembling. "It's strong. Too strong. I don't know if I can control it." Kaelin took a slow step closer, closing the distance until she could feel the heat of his body. "Control is unnecessary," he said softly, yet with the force of an alpha behind each word. "You will learn to embrace it. And when it awakens fully, you will know what it means to be mine." The tension between them was electric, crackling like lightning in the cool night air. Lyanna could feel the pull of his dominance, his power, and yet she also sensed a protective warmth beneath it. Every nerve in her body screamed in recognition, in response, in yearning. Kaelin's hand brushed against hers, a fleeting touch that sent shivers racing through her entire body. "You belong to me," he said, a growl threading through the words. "And I will not let anything harm you. Not the forest, not another pack, nothing." Lyanna's breath caught. I don't know how to be this," she admitted. Her eyes searched his, searching for reassurance, for guidance, for the impossible comfort that she somehow knew he could give. "You will learn," Kaelin promised, his thumb brushing against her skin, sending sparks of heat through her. "And I will teach you, step by step, night by night, until the bond is undeniable, unstoppable, and complete." The forest seemed to respond, the wind stirring, leaves rustling, distant howls echoing like a chorus of approval. The ancient spirits of the pack had sensed it. They had been waiting for centuries for a bond like this, and now it had begun to awaken fully. Lyanna felt the first real pulse of the bond, a wave of warmth and power that swept through her like a current. She gasped, gripping Kaelin's hand. It's real," she whispered. "I can feel you. I can feel us." Kaelin's lips curved into a rare, approving smile. "Good," he murmured, "because once the bond fully awakens there will be no turning back. You will be mine and I will be yours. Forever." And in that moment, under the moonlit forest canopy, Lyanna realized the truth she had been avoiding. Her life, her heart, and her destiny were now entwined irrevocably with the Alpha King. But as the bond pulsed stronger, a shadow moved in the distance, unseen yet watching. Danger was coming, and it would test not just their bond, but their very survival. The next morning the forest seemed quieter, almost too quiet. Lyanna walked beside Kaelin, her senses alert. The bond between them pulsed like a living thing, each heartbeat synchronized, each breath shared in subtle, unspoken rhythm. She could feel his presence even without looking at him, his strength wrapping around her like a shield. Solara trailed behind, alert and composed, sensing the tension radiating from both her brother and the forest. "Something is coming," she murmured, "and it isn't friendly." Kaelin's amber eyes scanned the horizon, narrowing as he caught a faint scent carried by the wind, foreign, aggressive, and deliberate. "Enemies," he said simply, his voice a low growl. "They dare to enter my territory." Lyanna's heart skipped a beat. Enemies? Who would attack your pack? Kaelin's jaw tightened. Rival packs, hunters, or opportunists, he said, stepping closer to her. Anyone who senses weakness thinks they can challenge me, but they will learn that the Alpha King does not forgive, and he does not forget. Before Lyanna could respond, the shadows between the trees shifted. A group of intruders emerged, armed and dangerous, eyes gleaming with greed and malice. Lyanna instinctively stepped back, but Kaelin moved like a predator, placing himself in front of her. "Stay behind me," he commanded, his voice ice and fire combined. "Do not interfere yet." The intruders laughed, thinking they faced an ordinary pack, but Kaelin's pack erupted from the trees like a storm, wolves leaping with precision and power. The Alpha King's dominance radiated outward, and even the intruders could feel the raw intensity pressing down on them. Lyanna felt the bond stir violently, a surge of power that coursed through her veins. Her instincts sharpened, her senses heightening as if the forest itself was teaching her to fight, to survive, to protect. She glanced at Kaelin, their eyes locking, and in that silent moment, she understood. They were no longer just Alpha and Met. They were partners, predators bound together by blood, scent, and destiny. Kaelin moved like lightning, striking down the intruders with controlled precision, his growls echoing like thunder. Lyanna, guided by instinct and the bond, found herself moving in perfect sync with him. Her hands and body reacted before her mind could even think, every motion guided by the connection they now shared. The intruders faltered, their confidence crumbling as Kaelin's pack encircled them. The Alpha King's presence alone was enough to break their spirit, and when Kaelin's gaze fell on them, amber eyes glowing with unstoppable authority, they fled, leaving the forest trembling in the aftermath of their defeat. Lyanna's chest heaved as adrenaline coursed through her. She turned to Kaelin, fear and awe in her eyes. "I helped." Kaelin's expression softened slightly, though his power remained undeniable. "Yes," he said, his voice calm but resonant. "You fought beside me. That is what mates do. That is the bond. You are stronger than you realize, Lyanna, and together we are unstoppable." She felt a warmth spread through her chest, the bond thrumming like a living heartbeat. For the first time she understood what Solara had said. The connection was more than attraction or desire. It was power, instinct, protection, and destiny all intertwined. Kaelin stepped closer, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "Do you feel it?" he asked softly, almost reverently. "The bond, our bond." Lyanna nodded, unable to speak as a shiver of recognition passed through her. "Yes," she whispered. "I feel it. All of it." Kaelin's lips curved into a faint, approving smile. "Good, because tonight the bond will grow stronger, and tomorrow you will understand just how much of my world is now yours." The forest settled back into its quiet rhythm, but the tension remained. Lyanna realized that danger was never far from the Alpha King's world, but she also knew that with the bond awakened, with Kaelin by her side, she was no longer a mere visitor. She was his mate, and together they were unstoppable.